Hello, so today I'm going to be talking about the bioethical dilemma that surrounds stem cell research, specifically human embryo stem cells. So there's more than one type of stem cell. There are, the one that I'm going to be talking about today are human embryo stem cells that come from a 5 to 7 day old embryo that is just specifically a blastocyte. So it's just pure pluripotent stem cells, undifferentiated, just pure basic stem cells. There are two other kinds that the article that I'm covering talks about, two of them being cord blood stem cells, which comes from the baby's umbilical cord, and adult blood stem cells. And so, going back to human embryo stem cells, the main, or one of the main, bioethical dilemmas that surrounds it is the harvesting of them. When is it considered a life? When is it considered that you're killing something off to basically harvest it for research? Because some people believe in a religious context that life begins at conception, that from the time that a sperm fertilizes an egg, that is a life. And that's not wrong. Nobody's opinions are wrong. Everybody has their own opinions. Other people on the other side of the spectrum, some of them believe that life doesn't begin until the baby is born and takes its first breath. And there's all kinds of range in between. There's people who believe it's whenever they have their first heartbeat, whenever there's brain activity, whenever it can feel pain, whenever it first develops eyes. There's all different kinds of opinions on when is life first considered to be alive. And the biggest issue with that is that many people try to fight the use of embryonic stem cells because they think that it is killing a life. I personally believe that a baby is a baby whenever the heartbeat begins. That's whenever I think that a life is a life, and that is just strictly my opinion. I don't think anyone's wrong. I honestly think whatever anybody thinks about life is their business, and they should just let people do what they do, but that can't happen. So the next major dilemma that I'm going to talk about, the other one, is the use of embryos that are previously used from infertility challenges, that they've taken these embryos out of the mother or the eggs and taken the father's sperm and fertilized them. That's what I was looking for. And fertilized them. And their parents either had the children or decide not to have them anymore. So these embryos are just sitting in the lab, unable to be used. So my thing that I think is pretty cool that we could be doing with them is, because most of these embryos are just thrown away, disregarded, which if you think about it, if you believe that life starts at conception, then they're killing these embryos. But either give the parents an option to give them to another family that's struggling with infertility issues, who doesn't have enough eggs, give them to another. They can always choose to discard them if they want. That's their option. It's their eggs, it's their body, their life. Or give them a third option to allow to donate these embryos to science. That's so we can research more on these stem cells. But again, there's another moral dilemma with that, with we having to get the donors involved and the mother's consent and the father's consent, or if the father's not in the picture, having to use the sperm donor's consent to be able to do that research because there's so many parties involved. But I personally think that it would be a very good, at least third option for these families who just have these extra embryos. That is my discussion.